What are 5 things you need to do in order to land your first Scrum Master job? Oh, what are you missing in the process? In this video today, we are going to cover the 5 steps I recommend to all my students who have been able to close the gap in less than no time. And I hope this is going to benefit you. You might already be in the process. We are going to go detailedly, step by step, what you should be doing and what time period you should invest in it. So that if you're missing something, then you know exactly what you need. Happy Monday to everybody, all my followers, those who are joining in for the first time. Every Monday, Wednesdays, Friday, we're dropping a video that's going to help you close that gap in the market. Welcome to my channel. This is the Scrum Chatroom with Dr. Francis Mbunya. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Returning subscriber, hit that thumb up button. We keep it simple here. We don't beat around. We give you exactly what you need. For those who have watched a couple of videos, you can attest by that. All right, without wasting so much time, let us go straight into our 5 tips or 5 steps. Now, step 1 is the certification. I know a lot of you already had certification and said, oh, I already have my certification. I'm just looking for a good resume to get interviewing. All right, wait to the end of this video. Don't go away because I am going to kind of dissect what you're missing. Now, certification. This is the first step, but this is also where a lot of people miss it. Now, the first misconception we having about Scrum Masters is that a lot of people that are having the information is like, oh, it's too easy. It's just about you go online, read a couple of stuff, get a resume, start interviewing, and then, all right, you can do that if you have been in a project management world for like a while, right? And what you're doing is you're just trying to close the gap. So if you can self-study, understand the difference between product delivery and project delivery, and then you're good to go. But if you have no background in project management, you have nowhere close to business analyst, you have not been in any leadership role before, then this is what you need, which I'm going to explain right now. The first is certification, but then when we're looking at certification, we have online versus live instructor. Now, many people have had PSM, right? If you've had PSM, good. PSM is good. It's detailed. Challenge you. 80 questions in how many minutes? 60 minutes. You got that right. But you're missing a lot of practicality. Now, you will agree with me that when you listen to some of my video, you can immediately understand what you're doing wrong, right? This is how live teaching goes, right? Many people have self-taught themselves and then they're trying to self-do themselves. So they are missing the aspect which comes from someone that has been in the environment for long and understand the in and out. If you've done online teaching, I'm going to put you to go to a live teaching. Now, with CSM and SAFE, you recommend live teaching. Why is it recommended? Why does SAFE or CSM? Because they work through certified instructors. So I'm able to teach SAFE and certified SAFE student because I've been able to also attend live training, and I'm certified by a safe program consultant trainer, right? Someone which is higher. And that is why I'm capable to explain some of the concept to you in a way that you can really understand. Why? Because I've taken out the time. I did not self-study. I've been coached from before I got my first Scrum Master job. I sat under a coach before I got my SPCT. I didn't do any online, like go online study here, so I don't recommend that. And you can see a difference between just doing the online self-study and casually getting an instructor. So I recommend get an instructor. Now look at what period is recommended for the first set, which is about getting your certification. Now, if you attend any class by a live instructor, I always challenge all my students within 1 week, you should be taking your certification. If not, I might give you up to 2 weeks, right, to take your certification. If after 2 weeks of taking that session, you're still unable to take your certification, I recommend sit in another class again, the second time. Now, not everybody is a fast learner. That is why I recommend the second time for those who are finding it a bit difficult to crush that first theoretical part within the first 2 weeks. This is the foundation a lot of people are missing. Now, I've had people who come to me to say, okay, I need you to help me prepare. And when I do assessment on where they are, they've taken the online class, but they have zero background. How do you know that you have effectively validated the theoretical part? You can talk about all the events, right? You can talk about from spring planning, daily stand-up, backlog grooming, and also review and retrospective. You can connect them and you can explain to me. You don't need to get the practical part of it, but at least you should be able to explain to me what this event does and answer a couple of theoretical questions around it. That is when you can accept that you have gone through the theoretical part. If not, go back to the basis. Go back to the basis. I'm going to be teaching a certification class today at 5 p.m. It's going to run for 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 hours every day, and we'll look at the theoretical part of it. So if you're someone that you're messing around with the theoretical part of it, you probably want to attend that class. If you already certified and just want to attend that class, reach out to me. I'll tell you what to do to be part of that class. If you're not yet certified and you want to be part of the class, still reach out to me and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. All right. The second step is the practice. When a lot of people get certified, the next thing they're looking for is a resume. No, the resume is not the next thing. You agree with me that after you got your certification, you got your resume, this has been like about 6 months and you're not able to do any stuff because you don't want to do the right thing. Now, the second part, when you get your certification and understand your theory, you need to practice. What is practice? It's translating theory into practicals, right? You've learned about sprint planning. What does it mean by to really facilitate as a scrum master in sprint planning? This next step after you get your certification is now question and answer. A lot of you are like, oh, I'm in a group and we do question and answer. That is not what you need. You need to practice. You need to understand what it means in using at least one tool. The most popular I recommend for everybody is Jira. Now, I know there is Ravi and Azure DevOps, but if you can understand the interface of one, because the same thing that's done on all the bots, right? Understanding how a project or a product is kind of from the product vision to the product roadmap to the release plan to the sprint and to the daily stand up. How is it connected, or how can you look at that when you look at your project, your Scrum bot, right? Jira, Azure DevOps, Rally. And also how, when we talk about future or epic, how does it connect to story? How does it connect to tags? How does it connect to subtags? When we say a bug, or when we say something is coming back to your team as a technical debt, how does that play out? Now, this is a practical part that adds more experience into your theoretical knowledge, right? This is where we talk about practicing Scrum. This is where you can say, oh, I'm doing internship. This second part, I recommend averagely focus there about 30 days, back to back, back to back, back to back. And you agree with me that you will not be able to go through this part if you don't have a system, if you don't have all the people that you're practicing with in a team, right? So such environment is very important. So sometimes when you reach out to us and like, oh, I want coaching, and we say, look, this is what's going to cost you, that, oh, this is too expensive. Why? Why is it expensive? Because we are putting in place a structure that gives you the internship, that helps you to teach. Now, to be very, very candid, I tell every one of my students, what we provide for you in order to close that gap. Most of my students, when they get on the job, they're already coaching. They know exactly how to help the organization go through the roadmap. They know how to facilitate release planning. They know how to help them shift things around. They can easily identify what are anti-patterns. They're not shaky when they say, oh, go create an event and go start loading stuff on your board. No. Why? Because this has been part of them. This is what they've gone through. And I always tell everyone that, look, what we help you to learn within the space of 90 days, even if you're paying 30,000 in a university or so, you will not be able to gain that, right? Because it's about practical. There's no amount of practical you'll be able to gain by just learning theory. Unless you're doing it, you cannot keep it. All right, so the second part, practical, should take you about 30 days. So the first part, 2 weeks, which is certification, crush that within 2 weeks. Learn everything you need to learn. Practicals, crush that for 30 days. And while you're doing this, always make sure, as in the first phase, you need to allocate at least 3 hours of your time daily to be able to do this. Right, you probably will not get going to practical class every day, but dedicate about 3 hours of your time for personal development and study. One of the biggest gap I've seen a lot of people that they don't have that confidence. They never get in front of the camera until when it's their first interview. No, you need to get on the spot. And how do you get on the spot? By being part of a community. Number three, which is the third step you need, you do a case study. Build your case study. This way resume coming. Your resume coming when you've practiced, not when you just have a certificate. What are you writing on your resume? You just have a certification and you're doing guesswork. And maybe you can pay a resume writer to write your resume. That's not a problem. And that's one of the reasons why I'm definitely very reluctant to write resumes, right? Not that I can't do it, but how to defend it, right? How to defend that resume. Now, that's the third step. After you've practiced, you understand exactly what it means to facilitate a daily stand-up in practice. You understand what it means to be to have a conflict in a team. You understand what it means to move things across your board. So you can look at your resume and you can make some sense out of it, which is the third step I recommend. Now that's this when you start building your case study because you can relate it to the theoretical part and you also can relate it to the practical part. After you build your case study, then you do your resume. After you do your resume, then you can go ahead now and make sure your LinkedIn aligned to your resume, professional LinkedIn profile. After you do that, you can start practicing tell me about yourself. When you tell me about yourself is on point, this is the fourth step where you start applying. You don't start applying and say, "Oh, I'm gonna learn through the process." No, this is why you don't want to learn through the process. For our student, what we do when you go through this step, we have 3 levels of validation before you get into the market, so you don't get into the market confused. The first level of validation we do is we do the onboarding. You go through all of this process. You go through a team of practice, and you have your team leader recommend you that I think this person is ready for interview. And then you also have to go through at least 3 levels of assessment in order to say, all right, we think you're good to go. And for everyone that appropriately follow these, they do not go through more than 5 interviews before they have the job. If they're going beyond that, it means something is missing, right? And that's why also we always encourage them. Now, record your interviews. Let your coaches listen to them. Some people are like, oh, I don't want them to hear my mistakes. Oh, I don't want anyone to listen to what I say because I mess up. If you're not willing to fail, you're not willing to succeed. So you need to be able to get out of that gap, get out of your head. I tell someone, look, it's a time, although the market might be a bit competitive now, this is a time to get in there. It's an opportunity that if you have to go through a formal education to achieve this, you'll be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, trust me, just to be able to get this. And I've seen people, they've gone to school, they've had bachelors in petroleum engineering, they're not able to get a job. But then you can go through a simple process within 90 days and you're able to earn the same as someone that went to a pharmacy school. That is something a lot of people don't value. And it's like, oh, you know what? I don't have $1,000 to get a certification. I don't have this. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you're not willing to get the right stuff, right? All right. The fourth thing, after you do your case study, tell me about yourself, that's when you start applying. You start applying when you're confident. When you start applying, number one, the first thing is that within, if your resume is right, your social media is right, within your first month of applying, you are going to pull a lot of attention, except you're not pushing harder. How many applications should you be sending out in a day? At least 20. Not only easy apply, make sure you're also going to the website of those companies and you're applying. Make sure you're also email recruiters. Get LinkedIn premium. You're investing in the process. Get that passionate. Learn how to talk. A lot of people don't know how to talk, right? You need to learn how to talk. And that's why I think now we do leadership training also for some of our students. Why? Because you need that. You need to get out. You need to get in front of people. You need to build that confidence. They're bringing you in as a scrum master not for you to come sit, facilitate, even and remove impediment. They want someone that has that power to talk in front of a stakeholder, to negotiate business for them. And when they see you and you're talking, oh, my name is this, and you're shy and you kind of bending your finger, and it's like, okay, this person is going to come mess up the business now. Although they know what to do, but we don't think they have the right attitude for the market. All right. So all of that is very important. And the fifth step is when do you start interviewing and having feedback. That's where you start doing the reality. So your case study and application process should take you less than a month. So in that case, the first 2 weeks for your certification, 1 month for practice, and then about 2 weeks to get all your case study, tell me about yourself, application process ready and start applying. That gives you about 60 days, right? That gives you about 60 days. Now, within this period, if you're ready and put out your resume, in less than 60 days, you should close the gap. In less than 30 days, you should close the gap. All right. This is averagely what I've seen work for students that follow the process. 90 days. Now, they're fast learners, right? And they're outliers. I've seen people that close it within 30 days, but because they're coming from a very powerful background, right? I've seen people that close it after 90 days. I've seen people that 6 months they've not closed it. But this kind of talk about the different level of learning. And the key point for you in the entire process is to be able to identify what is missing and work towards closing that gap. And I always tell every of my students, even if it's taking you 1 year to close that gap, you need, the goal is that, are you learning? Are you improving? If you get to a point where you feel like you don't know what is happening, then you're in big trouble. You always need to know what is happening, why you need to close the gap. Some people just need more longer time for learning because it's kind of a bit difficult for them to get more faster into the concept. But if you learn effectively, I've seen people that have taken the time, they learn for 6 months, and by the time they were ready, they're having about 3, 4 offers in a line in a week. So the timing is also very important. And above all, I always tell every of my students two things. Now, most often it's not just about how much you know or how much you can do. It also has to play a lot about understanding that life is spiritual. In the entire process, you need to know that you don't have the sole power, right? God has the sole power to decide. So while you're doing all of this, you need to make sure that you're praying. Is it the right job for me? I've seen people, they've gone to an environment, they lost their job. Sometimes because they're not ready, they're not prepared enough, they don't even know what a bot looks like. before they get to their first meeting. They don't even know how to create an event calendar before they get to their first meeting. You don't want to get in that environment. They pay Scrum Master good enough, which is a motivation for you to learn. You don't want to go mess it up. All right, so that was it for Monday. For those who want to be Safe Scrum Master certified, we have a certification program coming up. One is starting today, but I guess one is going to be in about the next couple of in 2 weeks. And for those who want a weekend schedule, we probably work on a weekend schedule by the end of this month. We're going to let you know when the weekend schedule is ready. If you want to move your Scrum journey just faster and you're willing to invest in yourself, not willing to call me on the phone and no, willing to invest in yourself, not willing to call me on the phone and ask questions. You should already, my video should already tell you what you need to know. So if you're reaching out, it means you're reaching out because you're serious to move ahead, right? So very important. And for those who also sending me a text, which I'm gonna leave my number here, be very specific and detailed on what you want. Some people send me messages and they're upset that, oh, I've sent messages for 2 days, 2 weeks, you have not responded. There was no content. You need to learn how to communicate effectively. Okay, I'm reaching out because I need XYZ. Can you provide me this information? Yes, we can do that. But like, I'm reaching out, I have a question. Do you have a minute to talk? No, I don't have a minute to talk. Why? Because I'm investing that time in myself. I have a minute. I can respond to your question if you give me a specific question, but I don't just have a minute to get on the phone and talk without knowing exactly what is happening. And besides, I limit the amount of time I get on phone. So even if you call me, I don't pick. You need to. I limit the amount of time I get on phone because I do a lot of teaching. I do a lot of online meetings. So my brain needs time to rest. Right? Just imagine if I'm picking a call of everyone that called me and talk. The brain need to rest, and that's where the personal development come in as well. All right, so have a great week. Make sure that you are leveraging all of this strategy in order to get closer to your first job. I'll see you on Wednesday for our next video.